Here at the University of Alberta, your story begins with an invitation. Come learn, try, solve, create, challenge, master, transform, see the world, and then change it. Start here.
Awesome. So my name is Rabib and I was an international student from a country called Bangladesh, if any of you know where that is. It's right by India. So 5.5 years ago, when I was choosing where to go to, I had a million options. So first of all, I was wondering which country to go to. I could have gone to US, Australia, but then I ended up deciding to come to Canada, and for all the great reasons, I'm not even going to tell you because you're already here and you know how awesome Canada is. But when it came to choosing a university, one of the things that stood out for me was the ranking and the reputation. And that's where the University of Alberta scored a lot of points. The University of Alberta is one of the top 5 institutions in Canada and the top institution in Alberta. And it's also one of the top 100 institutions in the world. So what that means is you can expect to come and learn from the world-class researchers and professors. And not just learn from them, but even be mentored by them along your journey at the university. So what this experience can look like is for you to come, try, and solve. Now we know that your traits and skills are different from somebody else's. That's why we'll give you the tools and resources so that you can discover what your true passion and what your true calling is. So if your passion lies in robotics or just artificial intelligence, computer science, and things like that, you can actually learn about that in our robotics laboratory. Or you and your fellow actors, or sorry, this is the other slide, or you could actually just learn about your midterm or your research and do things like that at Canada's second largest research library, the Rutherford Library. Now, if any of you have watched Harry Potter or are a fan of Harry Potter, you'll know why this library is also called the Harry Potter Room, because of its close resemblance with it. And if you and your fellow actors, friends, have a interest in acting, you can actually practice that at the Tim Center for the Arts. Or if you do not like acting, like myself, you can always come here for free shows as well. And that's some of the ways that I like being involved in that, like seeing what the drama world looked like at the university. Or you could actually be practicing in this laboratory that uses state-of-the-art technology to emulate clinical environments for things like cancer research. So you could definitely be participating in groundbreaking research work by taking advantage of these laboratories that use the state-of-the-art technology. But what we really encourage you to do is to challenge the conventional. Use what you learn inside of your classroom to participate in groundbreaking research work. So I take a lot of pride in showcasing this because this Ecocar project was done by a lot of my friends from the Faculty of Engineering. And they had a lot of funding to actually showcase this Ecocar all across North America. So what this car essentially did is it challenged conventional sources of fuel, and it used things like water or solar energy to run. So that's some of the cool groundbreaking things that you can definitely participate in. Or if you just have an interest in healthcare side of things, you can work alongside world famous researcher Dr. Shapiro in his diabetes research lab. The fellow right here, she actually won the prestigious Rhodes Scholarship and is currently on her way to study at the University of Oxford. That's where the University of Alberta really helps you. We give you that strong foundation to really go explore the world and eventually have a chance to even change the world. Speaking of exploring the world, one thing we really encourage you to do is to use what you learn inside of your classroom and apply it outside of your classroom through work experience opportunities and internship opportunities. That's where the University of Alberta stands out, because all of our programs in whatever faculty you go into, there is a work experience opportunity. For myself, I was actually part of the International Student Work Experience Program. Through the International Student Work Experience Program, we have job postings that are actually restricted only for international students. That's one of the ways that you can get your first experience here in Canada. Because oftentimes what happens is you're competing with other students, domestic students who may have more experience than you. So with the International Student Work Program, that's how you can definitely get that first experience that you're looking for. So for myself, after I was done my first year, I got a really nice job in the middle of downtown in a super nice building. And that's actually what helped me get other jobs down the road too. And work experience, they not only give you skills and experiences, they also help you pay off for your degree as well. So for myself, I had a chance to pay off over 60 to 70% of my degree through my work experience savings and even through scholarships and awards, which I'll eventually be talking about as well. But it is for all these great reasons that the University of Alberta ranks #1 in Canada when it comes to employability. Like our graduates get jobs, and that's because of all the resources and the experiences that we have to provide for them. So that's one thing I'll tell you, everyone, that when you're deciding on a post-secondary, think of the next steps. Think of where you're going to study. Think of what does it mean to graduate from there. Will I have a job? Will I go to grad school? These are the different things you can definitely think about when it comes to choosing a post-secondary, because your future is definitely important, right? One thing I'll definitely tell you, which is going beyond academics and the serious side of working, it's really important to have fun. Your 4 years will be probably the best time of your life. So I'd really encourage you to use these different student group opportunities to transform yourself. So quick question, do any of you have Snapchat over here? I see a nod. Okay, so you'll know why I asked that question in this short video. So students, what you saw is just a glimpse of what the student experience can look like. We have over 450 student groups that you can join. So whatever your interests are, if your interests are cultural, we definitely have a Chinese Students Association and a Vietnamese Students Association. If your interests lie in sports, there's sports clubs. If it's in entrepreneurship, there's an entrepreneurship club. Whatever it is, there's a very good chance we have that for you. Or if there's something that doesn't interest you, you can definitely start your own club as well. So very recently, like people were actually part of the hide and seek club, and that actually won an award for the best student group. So whatever your interests are, you can definitely start your club, and only takes about 7 people to start a student group. Also, part of transforming yourself is to have the ability to study abroad. Now I know what you're all thinking, you're already here studying abroad, which is great, but that's something I definitely encourage you to take advantage of, because we have tons of funding opportunities and about 300 plus partnerships with universities all across the world. So wherever it is that you want to go, we can give you funding to actually go there, learn a different language, study in a university that's different from here, and even learn more about their culture as well. And honestly, every person I've spoken to when it comes to studying abroad, they told me that it was just like vacation for them, because they were traveling, working, learning something different, and just enjoying their time as a university student. So after your first or second year, really look into studying abroad opportunities, as that's also another way that you can transform yourself at the university. But one thing I'll also tell you is that your degree is for you to create. Now I know you can come to the university and just graduate at the end of your 4 or 5 years, but you can basically customize that degree or experience with so many different things. You can become an entrepreneur, you can become a leader, you can become anything you want. And that's what we encourage you to do. We encourage you to take advantage of these different opportunities and customize that experience for yourself, so that at the end of it, you have a story to tell, not just a degree in your hand, right? And all of that experience definitely starts with choosing a campus. So I'll actually tell you a fun fact. We have a campus in Italy, and you can actually take University of Alberta courses in Italy. And the best thing is that classes happen 4 days a week, so you have 3 days to actually go and explore all of Italy and Europe if you want. So that's something, a really fun fact about the university. And definitely there are campuses within Alberta itself, and I will be talking about them. So our first campus is our North Campus, which is located in the city of Edmonton, which is the capital city of Alberta. This campus is truly a city within a city, because it covers 50 massive city blocks. It's also located by Edmonton's River Valley, which for context is 22 times the size of New York Central Park. So it's a huge river valley, and I always loved going there for bike rides or walks for just different things or even for cool Instagram photos. So if you're ever bored in between classes, I'd really encourage you to go and check out our North Campus and the River Valley. There's definitely something you can do. Also, I'm a huge foodie and I love eating, and there's a lot of different restaurants and food places on campus and even 10 to 15 minutes away from campus. So you can have a great time, you can enjoy great food when you're in the North Campus in the city of Edmonton. The second campus I will talk about is our Campus Saint Jean campus, which is actually our French campus. So if any of you speak French or know someone who speaks French, definitely encourage them or yourself to go join our Campus Saint Jean campus. A lot of students studying here take degrees in bilingual or degrees in French as well. So if you ever see any students in the North Campus speaking in French, that's because they're students from our Campus Saint Jean faculty. If you're looking for a little bit of the small classroom size experience where the class sizes are about 24 and the professors know you on a first name basis, you can definitely check out our Augustana campus. Now, one thing to note is that Augustana campus is located in the city called Camrose, which is an hour 15 minutes south of Edmonton. So it's a different city with a much smaller population, but if you're looking for that tight-knit community experience, Augustana campus is something you can definitely check out. And there are a lot of international students who actually study at the Augustana campus as well. Now let's talk a little bit about programs. Well, I shouldn't say a little bit because we have over 200 plus programs, so I can go a whole day when it comes to talking about them. So I will save you the time, and what I'll tell you is to go to uab.ca/programs and check out all the programs. The view books that have been given to you, in the middle of the view books, you'll notice in page 2021, there are all the different programs that are listed. So do check them out. If you don't know what you want to study, that's fine. I was in that same boat, and I always spoke to my guidance counselor, my peers, my friends, and my guardians. They were really great resources for me to decide what I really wanted to pursue when I came to Canada. So check out these programs, and if you're also interested in knowing what the requirements are, they are on the green side of the book, and you'll see the requirements are for Alberta students, but don't worry, on page 13 and 14 of the green side of the book, all the equivalencies are listed. So for example, English 30-1 would mean English for you or English studies, I believe, and Math 30-1 would mean advanced functions or something like that. So all the equivalencies are also mentioned, so if you're confused, they're definitely there. But the best resource would probably be if you go online, and you can always mention that you're an Ontario or a BC student, and they can definitely tell you what the requirements are. Also on that note, what I will tell you is if you have done any kind of high schooling back home, wherever you're from, if you've done grade 11 and 12, please record them. We can actually use those grades too to give you admissions at the university as well. Now I will share some, I guess, good things to look out for as an international student. So when you're applying for the University of Alberta, it's very, very important that you fulfill your English language proficiency. Now there are a lot of ways of doing that. Some of the ways are if you've studied in English for 3 years or more. Even if your school back home was in English, that can count as well. But some of the ways I definitely encourage, or we encourage, is for you to take other tests like IELTS and TOEFL as well. In the International Student Handbook that's been given to you, all these different ways of fulfilling English has been mentioned. But do note that even if you fulfill the requirements in those ways, you still have to complete your grade 12 level English, because that's a core requirement for all of our programs that you apply to. Another thing I will mention is we have this program called the Bridging Program, which actually allows students to come to the University of Alberta even if they're unable to fulfill their English language proficiency. Through the Bridging Program, you can take 3 or 4 English for academic purposes courses, and you can take a few courses that can count towards your future degree. And upon successful completion of these courses, you can continue your journey as a full-time undergraduate student. So what I'll still encourage you to do is to definitely try your best to fulfill the English language proficiency. Take advantage of the time you have left, 1 year, 2 years, to improve your English language skills to be able to be successful at the university. It definitely helps you not just for the university, but even for life in Canada in general, right? So do work on that. And again, if you have any questions, just raise your hand, either right now or at the very end, and I can definitely answer them for you. Now I'll talk a little bit about Edmonton. So Edmonton is the home of Edmonton Oilers. If any of you watch hockey, Oilers are pretty big back in Edmonton. So if you ever do make it to Edmonton, do buy a jersey and do come out and support them. But a few fun facts about the city is that it's one of the fastest growing cities in Canada and one of the youngest cities in Canada, which means you'll find a lot of like-minded individuals to start a business with or something like that. It's also known as the festival city, so whatever season it is, there's always some festivals or fun things going on. And also, the downtown is literally a couple stops from the University of Alberta North Campus. And as a student, you get a university pass that gives you unlimited access to transit, so buses and subways, and that's just another way for you to explore all of Edmonton. And we are also home to North America's largest shopping mall that has an indoor water park, which is also one of the largest in North America. And you can go to that water park even when it's -20 outside, and that's one of the best things about being in Edmonton for sure. Now let's talk a little bit about money and scholarships, which I know is a very, very important factor for international students to consider. Great news is that the University of Alberta offers over $28 million of scholarships to students across different faculties. And there's tons of awards that you can apply for, and there's few that you're automatically considered for. So I will go over those that you can actually apply for separately. So as an international student, you can apply for the Maple Leaf Centenary Award, you can apply for the International Student Leadership Award, and the International Student Scholastic Distinction Award. All of these awards have been mentioned in the International Student Handbook that's been given to you. Please make sure to apply for them before December 18th. That is our absolute deadline, and I really encourage you to apply for these awards by then. When you apply for these awards, you can get an award amount anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 or above. That's such a significant way of being able to fund your degrees, and that's one of the ways, and that's actually one of the reasons I came to the University of Alberta. Fun fact is I got into UBC, McGill, and U of T, and U of A obviously, but I chose to come to the U of A because of the amount of scholarships I received, and also the different opportunities that I knew that I could take advantage of when I came here. And honestly, that was the best decision, as you can see. They even employed me, so that was a great thing as well. So that's one of the reasons I chose to come to the university. So when you are thinking of a post-secondary institution, do look at things like scholarships, opportunities, and that's another way that it just helps you decide where you eventually want to go. Okay, so now I'll go over the admission steps in brief if I've convinced you enough to apply. So the first thing is definitely choosing what program you're interested in. One thing I'll mention is we have this pretty awesome tool on our uab.ca/programs website that actually asks you questions about your personality, what you're interested in, and based on your answers, we actually narrow down programs. So that means you wouldn't have to look at all the 200 plus programs. Based on your responses, it can actually narrow down some programs that you can look into. So that's another way of knowing what you can study. But definitely talk to your guidance counselors, Google as much as you want to know what you're interested in, and check for the requirements as well. So all of our programs have 5 core requirements, and English, your grade 12 level English is always a requirement. And there's other requirements based on whatever program you go into. Your second step is to submit your application online, which you can do at uab.ca/apply. Third step is you get a University of Alberta email account and access to the Bear Tracks portal. Please use your Bear Tracks to stay in touch with us and see what applications you still have to hand in. If you've received any scholarship letter or admissions letter, these will all be communicated to you through our Bear Tracks portal. So definitely stay in touch with us through Bear Tracks as well. And number 4, the most important decision and probably the best one you'll ever make is to accept your offer, because it certainly was my best decision. So if you do come to that stage, really encourage you to go ahead and click accept. And finally, when it comes to registering for courses, which can be a little stressful, don't worry, we have tons of online registration workshops to offer. So if you do come to that stage, don't worry, there's resources, but you can always reach out to us and we can definitely help you when it comes to registering for the different classes or courses. And I will tell you a little bit about how you can find out more about the campus. So the University of Alberta open house is over, which is pretty sad, but don't worry, you can always come for virtual tours. So if you go to uab.ca/visit, you'll see there's a link to a virtual tour, and you can always also add us on Snapchat to see what goes on in the university as well. The other thing I'll mention is resources for international students. So we have an international student center with professionals who are trained on immigration, who are trained on providing support for international students. I would always go to the counselors for all kinds of reasons. Firstly, they would always help me with the culture shock, because when I first came to Canada, I had a huge culture shock and I was like, oh my God, this is so different from back home. And they were really there to help me through all my stresses, through all my barriers that I face as an international student. So if you're ever on campus, do know that there are people to look out for you and to help you navigate through all these challenges. At the same time, if you have any questions when it comes to changing your high school study permit to a post-secondary study permit, which is very important for you to change over to when you come to the university, you can also ask us and we can definitely help you with that as well. And I would like to finish off by kind of showing a video that talks about discovering your passion at the University of Alberta.
Coming to the U of A, one of the things that I knew was that I was interested in a lot of things. I didn't know how to channel that into one career. And it turns out that you don't have to. You can take all of the things that you're interested in and focus on that one area where they all intersect.
I didn't really figure out what I wanted to do until I think it was halfway through my second year when I really decided I wanted to become a teacher. I think I just got to experience a lot more throughout understanding, figuring out who I am.
So I think I've always known that I was interested in physics and math, and my high school physics teacher kind of really drew me to this area. But at the same time, I think I also knew that I've wanted to work on something that would have an impact.
One of the best classes I ever took was Women in Politics, and it was a great class. It really opened my eyes to things that I didn't know about before, and that's something I really like about my degree in the Faculty of Arts, is that I feel as though what I'm learning really complements what I'm doing outside the classroom.
The teachers have a huge influence on who I was. In terms of other people's education, I think I want to have that same influence on the youth. The University of Alberta has been huge for me in that sense because I have met tons of great teachers.
There's a lot of young people who are unwilling to say that they want to be, the president of their students' union because of a fear of losing, a fear of rejection, and that's totally normal. But since I was on council, I feel like deep down inside, I always knew that this is something I wanted to do.
At the U of A, I found a place where I could mix and merge all of the things that I was passionate about into one thing, and I'm confident going forward that this is something that I can do in my career as well.
I think that being an undergraduate student means that you can afford the chance to explore a lot of really interesting questions with very low risk.
U of A is an incredible place to start something. All of the resources, all of the mentorship and supports that you need are readily available for you in a safe environment to try things and to try new things.
Awesome. Well, you can definitely stay in touch with us through our social media handles. So our Snapchat handle is @UAlberta Life. You can also find us on Instagrams, and you'll actually see different students being featured on our Instagram and also on Facebook. And fun fact, one of your student alumni was actually a student at the university, and he's a good friend of mine, and he's in the middle of this view book right here. His name is Omono, and he told me to say hi to all of you, and trust me, he's had a great time. And if you go to the University of Alberta Instagram, you'll definitely find him as well. But that's kind of what I wanted to finish off by saying. But thank you so much again for being here. I really hope that whichever institution you do end up going to, that you chase your dreams and you achieve them and you're successful in life. But my hope would be that you do end up coming to the University of Alberta and I do get to see your faces. But thank you so much for being with us today. If you have any questions, just raise your hand. You can ask me either now or even talk to me later on. But thank you for your time.